The reason why I don't show you how I make my custom fondant toppers is because it takes forever. This particular character I'm showing right here took me about 2 hours, maybe slightly longer than that. And how do I fit 2 hours into a 2-minute video? It's so hard, but I'm going to do my best to show you the basics today. When making toppers out of fondant, you have to add CMC powder or Tylose powder. What this stuff does is firm it up a little bit. You can still work with it, but it'll hold its shape a lot better because fondant without this powder added is extremely soft and stretchy, so it is not going to hold its shape whatsoever. The next thing to know is that you don't want to add just a giant chunk of fondant on top of your cake. So I like to use Rice Krispie treats for the shape of my item, and then I cover it in fondant. Here I am making the head of the koala bear, which I shaped out of Rice Krispie treats, and to smooth it out you can kind of shave it down with like a potato shaver or something like that, and then you just smooth your fondant on top of that item. Then you're going to need something down the center of the thing that you're making so that everything can stick together, and you can also insert it into the cake so it doesn't fall off. So in this video, I am using a cake pop stick, but you can also use toothpicks or a skewer or something like that. I added the body onto my cake pop stick and then reshaped it so it was perfect. Added a tiny bit of edible glue at like the top of the base of the neck, and then I added the head. And then make sure you leave about 2 to 3 inches on the very bottom so you have something to stick it into the cake with. And then all you have to do is roll out all the various shapes for the arms and legs, which can kind of just be like little sausage looking things, and you can add some small details for toes and fingers if you want. It really doesn't have to be crazy detailed, because honestly, if you were to spend 5 hours on sculpting something, you would have to charge like $300, and who's going to pay $300 for something that's eventually going to get thrown away? So make it simple, make it cute, and it's going to look great. Try your best to make the arms and legs and ears and things like that as symmetrical as possible. That's the hardest part for me. I struggle with it a little bit, but I think I did pretty good with this guy. He looks pretty cute. When I work with fondant, I prefer to use gloves, but a lot of people will just cover their hands in shortening and then use a bunch of cornstarch on their surface. But I don't like to use that method. I don't know. I've just always used gloves, especially since I almost always have my nails done. I don't want to get, it just makes more sense to use gloves, honestly. For the ears, I just made a round disc, which was about, I guess, 1/4 inch thick, and then just shaped it into the shape of an ear, and using a fondant tool added a little bit of detail. I used edible luster dust with a fluffy brush to give some pink color to the center of his ears. I would prefer to use petal dust